Hey, it's Sean Shapiro, here we go. Knows the road rules better than most folks know. Ask your questions, bring the heat or keep it chill. He's got the answers and a license to spill. Ask a traffic cop, Sean's your guy. Breaking it down, no lie, no tie. Knows the stuff and things to keep you clear. Ask away, he's the voice you want to hear. Badge, now a podcast star, navigating traffic laws near and far. Stop sign confusions or a signal light feud. Sean's the one to give you the right attitude. Yeah, ask your traffic cop, Sean's your guy. Breaking it down, no lie, no tie. Knows the stuff and things to keep you clear. Ask away, he's the voice you want to hear. From this man. Ask a traffic cop, Sean's your guy. Breaking it down, no lie, no tie.
What is going on, party people? It's Wednesday night, and I'm on the internet talking to you about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a former police officer who talks about that kind of stuff because I want to. Yes, nobody's here forcing me to do stuff and things. I am here because I want to help you demystify what is otherwise somewhat confusing for most. It's true. It's written. It's terrible. The laws are written poorly. At least they're in legalese, which makes it less fun for people to, well, navigate. I've had a lot of experience at it. I was a police officer, and I have been around this stuff forever. My name is Sean Shapiro, and I am here to make your life easier. It's true. Yeah, people they don't like being told no because I say no to a lot of things. Like, is that legal? The answer is no. They used to call me the CEO of no. However, that no might help you out, might help you avoid a ticket, a sticky situation. Kind of like the dessert I made today. Yes, I made a dessert. I was cooking. If you go to Shop Rewired, you'll see a post that I put up. Well, actually, I haven't put the one on Instagram yet. I put it on X.com on that account. I was invited by Barbados Tourism as well as WestJet. They hosted us for a cooking adventure. And Brandon would be really proud because I was in a kitchen cooking stuff and things. But what an amazing, I'll let you go look for it. It's just cool. That's for my alter ego life as a travel advisor, consultant, person who likes to get on planes and go to other places and tells other people about it after I do it. Yeah, it's the thing I do. We've got some fantastic questions that are coming in. If you are on any of the platforms, and I am on 9 tonight, we're on X, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. We're on Kick, Twitch. I'm sure we're on something else. If I missed one, let me know what it is. But wherever you are, I am so happy to have you here. Rage Bar TV says, ask an ex-traffic cop with an emoji. I am an ex-traffic cop, says so, former police officer there. The show's called Ask a Traffic Cop. And the goal and the reason it hasn't changed is because the goal is to have current serving traffic officers come on the show. I want this show to be them speaking. That's been the goal since day one. I don't need to be doing this. I can host it, but they should be the source of information. Now, until I find someone to do that, I'm still your guy. I didn't stop knowing stuff and things when I retired from policing. So I still share my information, but I appreciate the comment because, listen, when I go onto the air with Jerry Ager on News Talk 1010, and I'll be on the air with him on Tuesday, I will be introduced as Sean, the ex or retired or former TikTok he has to cover his bases when he's on the air. I clearly put it on the video that I'm no longer a serving police officer, but I'm always a qualified guy. Yeah, they haven't changed laws. and I still read them. Anyway, I don't know how to pronounce your name, but ASBBRZ. If you buy a car private from, and then you try it again. You said, if you buy a car private from someone and don't have insurance on the car, but have to drive it home, then you're doing it illegally. If you have no insurance, you cannot operate it. You have to get it towed. You can't drive a car with no insurance. It's required by law, by the Compulsory Automobile Insurance Act. If you violate that, you get into a collision, you're screwed because you're going to get sued. If you get pulled over and stopped and charged, you are going to be charged for drive no insurance, and then you are going to be responsible for the 104, the part 3, the summons to court, and then the minimum fine. Well, it's $5,000 to $25,000 and up to 6 months in jail. Not a fun go. We've got Droner Wayne, who comes in with a good evening, to the point. If you are making the effort to ask a question, know that I will get to you as soon as I possibly can. Sometimes that takes longer than others. We did this yesterday, and it took a while to get to the stuff. So I'm not going to leave you hanging for that long, but you might be waiting a little bit. But I appreciate your patience. Please don't spam the chat. Spam is for sandwiches, although I've never actually eaten spam. I'm told it's good and sometimes fried. I don't want canned meat. But anyway, conservative, and then I think it says conservative Canada in quotes, says, how many people have you caught with radar detectors or laser jammers? I don't think I really spent any time looking for them. I was so happy catching the ones that I caught. I know that many of my colleagues have caught a lot of them. And the folks with the screwdrivers ripping them out. I have made allegations against people who, we said, we believe that you have it, and they handed one over. Maybe that happened twice while I was present, but it wasn't me doing the talking. Let's move on here. We have here. Undead Neon was reminding me to remind you who I am. Appreciate you, Undead Neon. When he says Dory, that was a cue call from a number of years ago to say, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a former police officer who talks about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff. So if you don't already follow me, please do. If you're on TikTok, please tap the screen so your fingers are going on. And if you're on any platform at all, please like, share, and follow. It really does help us get the word out. And the more questions we get, the more interesting the show gets. Now, this is the After Dark version. This is the late night discussion. And I'm happy to talk about anything, whether it's traffic law, traffic safety. Heck, we can talk about the food I ate at this really cool place called Dish on College Street in Toronto. I've never been to a cooking class like this where they prep everything. They tell you what to do. You stir, you put it in a pot, and magical food comes out, like gourmet magical food. Tonight it was hosted by, this afternoon it was lunch. It was hosted by Barbados Tourism Board. Amazing, amazing, amazing food. What a great experience. Anyway, Melody says, hello, full moon crazies tonight. I imagine it's an interesting place to be if you're out on the roads. The moon was spectacular. Was it last night? It was so beautiful. It must have been last night as I went for a drive in the pitch black at 5 p.m. I couldn't believe. Yeah, we went for a drive last night around 5 o'clock, and it was insane. What an amazing moon. I can only imagine what it would be like to be a police officer on the road tonight, knowing what happens on full moons. It's not just the werewolves. It's everyone goes a little bananas. Lynn says, I could listen to your voice all day. My daughter is an officer, and thanks for everything you do. Lynn, I'm so glad that you're here, and thank you for producing a magical daughter who serves their community as a police officer. Police are awesome. I'm biased because I was one, but the folks that get up every day and go serve the public are special, whether they serve as a police officer, as a paramedic, as fire. Whenever you are engaged in a life of service, you're doing something truly special. And I know not everybody appreciates them, so I try and appreciate them extra. If you send me an email, I will send you something for your daughter to give her. Okay. Healthy Maniac says, I get nervous when I see a cruiser behind me. And Healthy Maniac, that's because you're not really a maniac. You're a good person. Honest people get nervous. It's a natural reaction. I get nervous. Why? I go, what did I do? It's the automatic. I got an email from one of my kids' teachers today, and I told her, I got an email from your teacher. What did I do? It's an honest expectation of negative stuff. It's natural. Now, it was a good email saying that she's awesome. That's amazing. And when there's somebody behind me, They're just checking stuff out, just like I checked out a megazillion. I was making new names a gazillion times before. All right. Phoenix Mist says, "Can a cop ask me for my ID and insurance if I am stopped at a parking lot, not light?" Yes, they can. They can ask you for anything. They can ask you. Can they demand it? Well, if you're operating a motor vehicle on the road, yes. If they're investigating you for a specific offense related to the Highway Traffic Act, then yes. So if it's a lawful stop, yes. So here's the kind of situation. If you're stunt driving on private property, obviously, because the HTA impacts private property for careless driving, for stunt driving. So they would have full reason to make a demand for license ownership and insurance, even on private property. Now, technically speaking, driving on private property doesn't actually require insurance. So how does that work? Well, on the road, just for being on the road without anything done wrong, without you doing anything wrong, you have to be able to, or you have to produce upon demand of a police officer, license ownership and insurance. On private property, I would argue that that would require an offense, not simply, "Hey, how you doing? Have you got?" I mean, they can ask. They can't demand. It's a little different. You couldn't be charged for failing to surrender that information unless it was in relation to a charge. So very interesting. And user lots of numbers says, "Thank you for your service. Thank you for the thank you. I appreciate you." Let's see here. I love it. On Kick, I get all these people trying to advertise. Would you like to buy viewers? No, I only want people who want to be here. If you don't want to be here, don't be here. It's cool. Yaha Noor or Yaya Noor says, "I got 7 parking tickets. What going to happen if I didn't pay?" What happens is you don't get to renew your driver's license or your license plates. No, it's license plates. You can't renew your license plates. It doesn't prevent you from renewing your driver's license. Um, you're the registered owner of the vehicle, and that's to the vehicle, not to the registered owner. When you have a moving violation, like the owner's responsibility for uh I was going to say uh photo radar, not a thing anymore. At least it won't be until, is it 12th or 14th? So a quick sideline: automated enforcement is still in play for red light cameras, so obviously those are still valid. Stop for your red lights. Speeding, apparently they don't care so much. They're worried about people getting $40 tickets for 5 over, but not worried about people doing 5 over. They're not worried about people doing the 15, 20, or 80 over, because that's what those cameras get on occasion. But anyway, after the 14th, I believe they're all shut down. But any ticket issued before the 14th is still going to be processed and pursued by way of the courts. So don't speed. You shouldn't speed anyway, or ever. And so again, to your parking tickets, if it's issued by the City of Toronto or MLEO, an agent for the city that's being qualified, those will impact your ability to renew. If it's let's say York University, they can prevent you from getting your certificate, like your diploma, or your, what's it called, your degree, or your, what is it called, the diploma. What the heck is it called? Anyway. Oh, TNT Kiro says, "Hey, I'm in the process of becoming a cop in Quebec. Any tips or advice?" We'll get to recruiting and stuff soon. Absolutely. I do have some advice, and it may be overly simplified advice, but I think it's good stuff to talk about regardless. Hey, if you're watching and you don't know who I am, where have you been for the last 5 years? I've been doing this for a long time now. I used to do it as a member of the Toronto Police Service, and now I do it as a founder of the Canadian Organization for Better Traffic Safety and Education, which is a not-for-profit that wants to make roads safer through education. So I'm here answering traffic and police questions to make your life better. It's all about making things better for you. If you know stuff before you do stuff, you're less likely to get charged with stuff, because if you do the wrong stuff, you get in trouble. And if you were watching on TikTok, please tap the screen so your fingers go numb. It helps bring more people to the party, more interesting questions for me to answer, which means you might get the answer to a question you didn't even know you needed to know until you knew, and then it was a thing. All right. So in terms of recruiting or advice, so drink lots of water, stay healthy, stay hydrated, keep your exercise up, stay out of trouble, get good sleep, focus on good sleep habits now. You need to be really diligent about being able to, go to bed when you want to, relax and be able to go to bed. It sounds silly, but it's so important, especially with shift work, to be able to get your body into a situation where you can lay down and go to sleep at day or night. Not as easy. Look into it. Not as easy as you might think, but keep that physical fitness standard up, because even if you pass certain testing and it takes you 6 months to get there, if you let it slip or if you slip while you're going through the process, you're going to have a hard time. Now, Quebec may have different standards for joining the police service. I'm not familiar with them, but I can tell you that who you spend time with and how you spend your time will always be evaluated. So continue to volunteer, be involved in the community that you want to serve. And I'd be curious to know where you're applying, what service, but wherever you go, service to your community as a police officer is the best job in the world. I loved it and everything to do with it. Okay. Jordan 2 wants to know, does your insurance go up or does your insurance go up or do you lose demerit points if you get a ticket for no front plate? Very interesting question. And then they said tinted plates. Okay. In the province of Ontario, you are required to present and display, according to the regulation, a front and a rear plate. The front plate must be displayed in accordance with that regulation in a conspicuous location at the front of the vehicle. It doesn't say left, right, or center. Front, which could be the front bumper or the front grille. That is all. Now, it has to be horizontal, not vertical, so people do some silly things, and that gets them into trouble. If you obscure it with anything, that's an obstruction, and that can cause a ticket as well. Different ticket for putting it, let's say, behind the front windshield, which is failed to display, and it's different if you put a cover. But here's the deal. If you get those tickets, they don't, they're a minor ticket. There's no demerit points, so they're considered a minor. But if you get a multitude of them, your insurance company could increase your rates. Any ticket could get you get rid of your no ticket, your first ticket free policy. Some people have that. It's a ticket's a ticket. They don't care if it's a moving violation or not. That could impact your insurance by raising it up to 20% right off the bat. But if you get 3 of these minor tickets, they could increase your insurance because it's up to them. There's no rule. It's their rules. It's an organization that you made an agreement with, a private one. They can do whatever they want. Demerit points are not used by the insurance company to determine your rates. The demerit points are used by the Ministry of Transportation to determine whether or not you need to have, what is it? Oh, yeah, a refresher course, a suspension, a letter telling you to be a better human. That's what they do. They track how you are as a driver. Antonio FX has a great question. I actually like this question a lot. And I always get a finger pointed at me from cyclists saying, you're anti-cyclist. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm a cyclist too. I even have an e-bike. Ooh, crazy, isn't it? But I follow the rules. So the question is, how do cyclists get to share the road with motor vehicles when they don't even have a driver's license? I have made this argument time and time again. How do you share the road with a cyclist when that cyclist could be doing things that are dangerous, illegal, and they have no consequences? Well, they do have consequences, even though they don't have a driver's license. They can be charged with just about everything under the Highway Traffic Act, save and except for speeding. They're not excluded there. Cell phones, they can't be charged for. They can be charged for careless driving, even though they're riding. They are responsible for following the rules. And even if you don't know the rules, which we can qualify if you have a license, you had to have passed a certain level of educational testing requirements, you're still responsible. Ignorance is no excuse. You just because you don't know, you ought to have known. So that's where it is. Listen, I would love to see a license standard for cyclists. I would like to see just a general, hey, did you know you can get squished by cars kind of, questionnaire. There's nothing. And if you go to the City of Toronto website, it actually says, we've looked at it. It's too expensive. We ain't going to do it. And they leave it as that. Just a follow-up from TNT Kiro. They said, yeah, I'm studying in Montreal, but I'm planning on working in another service in another city for my first 3. And then tests are really tough to prepare us for the National Police Academy, which apparently is tough on all physical tests. Listen, go where you can get hired, then move to where you want to be. That's ultimately it. Do what's right for your family. Do what's right for you. Law and 91 Lawland says, how can I get a disobey ticket dismissed? A disobey what ticket? Like a disobey sign, disobey light, disobey police officer? Tell me more. Tell me more. I'd love to know. If you're watching it and you don't know who I am, my name is Sean Shapiro. I used to be a cop in Toronto, and now I do this. Well, actually, I do a whole lot of things. I'm even a travel agent or a travel advisor because I love to travel. So I started doing that. I do a lot of different things, and I have a lot of fun doing it. And now I have the freedom to do all of it. But I still do this because I love y'all and I want to make your lives a little better. This is really a show for you. Obviously, if you ask questions, I answer them. I have no other motives. It's just about helping. Mind you, I do have some magical people that I have to shut out. And Diamond Lawyers, they sponsor the show. They help me keep the lights on. Literally, they help me pay for the software and the internet and all that stuff, along with Barrett Legal, who also helped me out. Listen, we are just trying to make roads safer because we all use the roads. We want everyone to be safe. We want you to get to where you're going and back home again without hurting yourself or anybody else. Simple as that. Yeah. And if you need an injury lawyer, personal injury, they happen to be the biggest in Canada. Great video with my buddy putting on a shirt today. It says, larger. Anyway, you can go watch the video on their channel. Diamond and Diamond. Moving on. Dawn. Oh, Dawn is back. Is there an equivalent to the U.S. Brady list in Canada for the police that are proven not credible? Actually, there are. So Dawn was on yesterday. I was on at 10 a.m. till almost, was it 11 o'clock? No, 12 o'clock. 10 till, we went 2 hours yesterday. Anyway, Dawn has lots of questions about quotas. We covered it yesterday. We don't have to get into it again. But is there a Brady list? So there's something called a McNeil checklist in Canada. If an officer has been charged with anything, it has to be disclosed. So it's called a McNeil checklist. I assume that's very similar to the U.S. Brady list. There you go. Things you needed to know. And it gets disclosed. It's required. If there's anything there, boom, 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 they're required to disclose. Thank you for the follows to Delgado and Yuri and Christine and Mike Sells Homes and Yaya. And we appreciate you. Appreciate you growing the fam. And what do we got here? From behind the borderline, joined the chat. Okay, Jibwa says, what is the law when it comes to crosswalks and the timer begins? Are pedestrians allowed to step into the street once the countdown timer begins? Love the question. Thank you for asking it. Here's the deal. Those timers are to tell people who are already in the intersection how much time to get out, how much time they have to get out before they get smoked by traffic. It's really there to help judge the speed in which you are walking, especially people who have mobility issues and so on. It is not a time that you can enter the intersection. So if you are on the sidewalk and you enter during the flashing hand with a countdown timer, you are actually eligible for charges under the Highway Traffic Act. You're disobeying the signal. You should not be entering. And you're screwing with the whole scheme of things because you get on when there's 10 seconds and then you're in the, anyway, that's not meant for you. Flashing hand means don't enter. Let's see here. We have Sean Chen. Good to hear from you, sir. Hello. He says, hello, sir. How have you been? I don't know why he said it that way or typed it that way, but that's how I've interpreted it. So we're moving along. I'm glad this is my show and I can do what I want. All right. All right, let's see here. Ella wants to know, do officers ticket someone with front windows that are slightly above legal tint limits or illegal tint levels? So you want to know if somebody is going to look at your car and go, you are 0.25% over the limit. You, sir, are getting a ticket. No, I don't think that happens. I don't think the getcha gotcha out to hunt for you kind of situation is there. There is more interest in ensuring we can see you. If it's so dark that we can't make out an image, identify you in any way, shape, or form, that's a problem. Absolutely. I've written quite a number of tickets for tinted windows. Tinted windshields take you off the road. That's an instant lose your license plate, unsafe motor vehicle charge. But if your windows are blacked out, and 30% is what's legal and considered safe for the road. If they're blacked out, if they're so dark I can't see male, female, person, automated vehicle, yeah, I'm pulling you over. I'm charging you. That would be how I would operate. But it depends on the officer. It's all discretion. They can choose to ignore it. They can choose to enforce it. They can choose to leave it for somebody else. Like, who knows what's going on in the hearts of officers daily? But there's so much to be dealing with. They may not be focused on it. In fact, I pulled someone over for tinted windows. That's not why I was looking at the vehicle. I wouldn't even have noticed their vehicle if they hadn't been driving like such a bonehead. And I ended up laying the charge because not only were they acting like a bonehead in terms of drivers, but they were acting like a bonehead when I was talking to them. It wasn't a charge that was the focus of my being. I was focused on other things, but if you earn the ticket, you deserve the ticket. All right. What do we got here? Lynn says, did you ever work with Officer Mark? I'm going to say I haven't because I don't know how to pronounce his name. Boussolet? I do not believe that I did. I may have, but the name does not ring a bell. And I would have had to give it quite a lot of thought before stumbling to say it. So I'm going to go with I don't know that individual. Dylan Smith says, can I ask about what happens if I am at an intersection turning left and another car is going straight? You have a responsibility. More responsibility is the left vehicle or the left turning vehicle than the other one. who's going straight. So even if they were to go through an amber light and hit you, you have the primary responsibility to ensure that you can enter and cross that path of travel safely. So in that situation, you might share the responsibility insurance-wise and charge-wise, but at very least, the greater weight is on you. I hope that answers your question. If you have further or want further on it, let me know. We'll talk about it. My name is Sean Shapiro. It says it on the screen. I'm a former police officer, used to work in the city of Toronto, and just over a year ago, I left policing. I used to do what I'm doing right now, but as a cop. And that's because I got hit by a car when I was on a police motorcycle as part of the motor squad, and I couldn't go on the road. It really changed my life because I'd always wanted to be a police officer, and when I got hurt, I had to reinvent myself and find a way of serving in the capacity that I wanted to, which was to help people. You go out in a police car, you engage with the public. Well, now I'm engaging with the public, even though I'm not a police officer, and I'm helping you because my goal is to do just that. So if you've got questions about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff, you're in the right place. And if you know someone who sucks as a driver, forward them my channel. Maybe I can help them out. Don't tell them you think they suck. Just tell them this might help you be better. You got to tell them the way you position your presentation. Dylan Smith says, fails to go and I do. What's the ticket? Oh, okay. So Dylan, I was talking about turning left in front of oncoming traffic. I assumed you were all in motion and you were making a turn in front of in front of traffic. What you're actually asking about, since I read the rest of your question, it was broken up because of maximum characters. You're asking about a jackrabbit start or the potential interpretation thereof. So if we're all stopped at an intersection at a red light, the light turns green, okay? The oncoming traffic has not yet responded to said green light. And you, being quick on the gas, hit that gas and make a left turn. That is classified as a jackrabbit start. It's if you cross the white line entering the intersection to make a left turn in front of oncoming traffic, either just before it goes green or just after it goes green. It has to be that kind of split-second response. That would qualify for stunt driving charges, meaning you'd lose your license for 30 days, you lose your vehicle for 14, you'd be looking at a first conviction, which would give you a 1 to 3 year driving prohibition along with a $2,000 to $10,000 fine. Life would suck. So don't do that. Now, I say it would have to be immediately before or immediately after. Very important, because if you're waiting there for 5-10 seconds and the guy's texting and not driving, that is no longer before they've had an opportunity. Thus, you make the turn because they're asleep at the wheel. You're not conducting yourself illegally. You're not breaking the law. You're not stunt driving. Hope that is clear. If you need more, let me know and we'll revisit it. Harrison Longhe, NBD, says, can I fight a guy after a night at the Roxy? I got no comment. There's too many variables, but is a thing of consensual fighting. You just can't. I mean, I know you're going for a thing, but okay. Yeah, we can talk more about that. What is this? What the? When you are traveling on a 3-lane highway, where should the middle car go for emergency vehicles? The middle car? You're talking about 3 lanes in every direction? Or you're talking, like, ideally, an emergency vehicle is going to be on the left, and ideally, you're going to go to the right. Ideally. If we're pulling you over, like technically it says to the closest curb or edge of roadway. But if they're in the middle because everyone's on the outside, then you go to your closest. You don't cross in front of them. You got to do what's safe. You got to do what's safe. And I'm trying to figure out really what you're asking though. I think you should always, if possible, go to the right. The left is cumbersome. Let's see here. Twitch wants to know what my thoughts are on Asian mobs, like flash mobs, like they're making TikTok videos and dancing, or are we talking about criminal organizations, or whether they're Asian, Italian, anything, like whatever mob or criminal organization you're referring to? It's not good because they're criminal. I'm not big into the whole criminal thing. I think they're generally bad. What is this? Lap Chung says, are you a content creator full-time now? Now that you're not a police officer? I am. I said full-time. I do a lot of different things. In fact, I'm involved in launching an educational platform that will be eventually doing more of, well, it's not really doing driving training, but I'm involved in so many things and busy like crazy, but content creator is certainly a huge component of what I do, and consulting on social media is also part of that. But I recently did a campaign with SiriusXM Radio because I believe in what they're doing, which is creating great content for us to absorb while we're driving. And I think when you're in a good, happy place while you're driving, you're a safer driver. So there's more in that. But yeah, I absolutely create content and I edit other people's content, and I do lots of stuff and things. What do we got here? Null 0323 says if you pulled someone over and they happen to have 50% tint on the front windows and darker rear windows, and obviously with no windshield tint, would you ever give them a problem for it? Assuming that assuming that they're driving regularly and are civil about it. I can actually put this on the screen. It depends. It depends on what the 50% looks like. If it was mirrored, obviously it's a problem that's prohibited. If it was nighttime and I couldn't see in and I determined that it was unsafe, it depends. Technically, that's illegal. I will say that probably not. Like I don't think I gave anybody who was like on the breaking the rules, not breaking them by much. 50% is pretty close to 30%. I know it's more than legal, more than what's legal, but I probably wouldn't have. But also, my test wasn't with a meter. My test was with a business card or with a driver's license. And this is a good test as a standard for anyone to sort of guesstimate where they are. If you put your driver's license on the inside of your window and you can read it clearly through the window, you're probably not getting a ticket, because that tends to be the rule of how people gauge it when they're not with a device. Because most officers, in fact, mechanic has a device, because you have to have less than 30% or no more than 30% in order to qualify for a safety certification. So they have to have it. Police officers aren't mandated. In fact, don't get them, except some commercial motor vehicle coppers have them, and some other jurisdictions might have them. Okay. Hope that helps. We'll come back to it if not. What do we got this? But your boss says, would you consider a U-turn in the same as a 3-point turn if there's a sign that says no U-turn? Yeah. If you're turning around, whether it's a 3-point, 60-point, 80-point, if you're turning around, you're obstructing traffic, you're making a maneuver that is prohibited. There's no way around it. I consider it a U-turn. It doesn't have to be a simple U-hook. Savage RRK, I'm going to come back to you just because there's a whole bunch of people on TikTok and I want to make sure that I don't leave them behind because it stacks up. Phoenix Mist, is it illegal to eat while driving? A valid question. Absolutely. It is in Ontario not illegal to eat. Now, it is illegal to drive carelessly, which might be because you're eating, but it's not simply the eating that makes you a careless driver. I've seen people eating with, I've literally seen people with chopsticks and in eating. I've seen people with soup spoons eating cereal. I guess it's a cereal spoon at that point, eating in it with a bowl, like ceramic bowl of milk with Cheerio. I've seen everything. If you're doing that and you're driving with your knees, I'm going to charge you with careless driving, not eating. There's no charge for eating, but you're being careless. It's a stupid thing to do. I've seen people charged with careless for makeup, for drinking water when the water is a giant bottle and they're staring at the sky and they're all over the road. Because careless tends to be a combination of other things, like 2 or more charges, 2 or more different driving things. So distracted driving, or speeding while not maintaining a lane control, swerving, like things like that. But just for eating, no. I hope that helps. Megan S. My bad. Signs of an impaired driver. What are signs of an impaired driver? Oh my God, there's so many things. And to me, it's like spidey senses. I will drive behind a motor vehicle and say that person's impaired. I don't know why I know it, and then I start to dissect it because something just stands out as wrong. So they're hugging one line over another. They're trying to drive by wire. They're staring at that center line and trying to put a tire over it, or they're all over the place. Either one could be impaired. And as a police officer, if it just looked wonky, I pulled them over and I investigated them. And very often through conversation, the odor of alcohol, the interaction where you ask for a driver's license and they give you their library card, all of these things may be signs of not only impairment by drugs or alcohol, but possibly a medical emergency. I've had people who had blood sugar issues. They were diabetic and it wasn't alcohol, but they were going to be passing out, and they were having really big problems, and it ended up becoming a 911, or I am 911 at the time. It was a radio call for a bus, for an ambulance. So yeah, it could be anything. It could be super slow driving, like doing 20 kilometers an hour in a 60, possibly, maybe driving with no headlights, signs of impairment. Like anything could be, and that's a reason to investigate. It's not generally as simple as that person's impaired, but it does sort of present that way. Savage RRK has been patient, so let's put them on screen. Question: is a TTC bus supposed to stop before the roundabout and wait for oncoming cars, because going around the bend, a bus merges into other lanes? So, is the bus supposed to stop before or just go ahead? Buses and roundabouts, I honestly have never thought of this. I've never explored this as a concept. They may have different things, and I have some friends who are TTC operators. I'm going to have to ask them for what they do. But the rule is, for a roundabout, that they must yield to the traffic inside the roundabout. If they're the first ones in, then I guess you're yielding to them. But I hadn't thought about the fact that they may take more space to make the round. Yeah, I mean, big trucks and long vehicles, articulated or otherwise, they need space. Give them the space they need. I know that wasn't a direct answer, but I don't have one. So, Goldwing cone patterns. Hey, I know that guy. Too slow, too fast as well. Last minute moves. This is impaired driving identification, and he knows a few things about that stuff. Brother, we are long overdue for a meal. We got to get together. I miss you. He might be my old partner from Motor Squad. Not giving him up. Not telling anyone who he is. Okay, maybe I just said his username. But anyway, it's my brother from another mother. All right. And he has an answer for the large vehicles. So large vehicles may move into other lanes as long as done safely. Well, there you go. What's your biggest drug bust? That's from Twitch. I don't know how to pronounce this. Zatuk? We'll say Zatuk. The deal with my biggest drug bust, I was not a drug enforcement officer. However, I did attend for a car up a pole. I kid you not. There was an event. The vehicle ended up mounting a pole, and then I ended up arresting the driver. And upon inventory search of the vehicle, a quantity of narcotics was located. I don't know the actual weight because I didn't weigh it. It was another officer. I was dealing with the arrest, so somebody else did the search and located it. And Bob's your uncle. They got a bunch of charges. I don't remember how much, but it was a lot, or at least the most I had ever dealt with, even though I didn't directly deal with it. But it was part of my case, so there you go. I don't remember what it was. Yaya Noor says, "Why wouldn't you answer my questions?" I did. I answered the questions, and if you weren't here to pay attention to it, or if you were, I totally answered it already. This was about, what do you do if he wants to know, I got 7 parking tickets. What's going to happen if I don't pay it? I talked about you like right off the bat. I'm sorry that you missed it. You can go to YouTube and watch a replay of the show. I have all my shows, and this is episode 88 or 89 this year. That's at least 80. I'm going to say easily, it's over 90 hours, probably over 115 hours, because I tend to go way over an hour, even though I give a minimum of an hour. But sometimes I give a lot more because I'm just a giving guy. But thank you, Melody, who is helping out and says, "Dude, wait a second or two." Who's there? Cool Triple Three Ski says, "Is it allowed to cross a double yellow if I pass a cyclist or pedestrian?" Double yellow means that nobody should be doing any passing, but it's not illegal in Ontario yet. Other provinces it may be. And actually, I think it is. I think a solid line is regulated and cannot be crossed in other provinces. I think Ontario is the only one that doesn't have a ticket for it. But if you cross it, you are going to be responsible for whatever happens. So if you cross it against the advice of the painted line, and a painted line that's solid says don't cross it, yellow means the traffic on the other side is coming at you instead of going the same direction as it would be with a white line. But you can technically do what you got to do and hope for the best, because if you cause a collision, you're in deep doo-doo. Patience is usually the best option, not passing, especially if that person who is that you're passing is doing the speed limit. You want to go above it. Just saying. So it's interesting that you say that, my Goldwing brother. I once thought that too. but the yellow line means contraflow, means they're going the opposite direction, and white line means same direction. I read that in the driver's handbook. I actually originally on air with Jerry gave the same answer that you just gave, because I honest to God believed it. But I was updated, and I had to go tell Jerry that I got it wrong. And it was like the day after that I said it, and I felt really bad about it. Anyway, moving on. What do we got here? Oh, Lynn sent me the email. Okay, hang on a second. Did you send me an email from that? That I know it's you. Okay, hang on. I'm going to make a note of this. Otherwise, I'm totally going to lose it. I will lose the note because I want to send. There, I made a note. The note has been made. Don wants to know if there's an equivalent. We talked about this already. I already answered you. And what's the weirdest, not worst necessarily, but weirdest call you have ever heard of? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I'll have to think about that. And Dill Congdon says, yes, it does. I have no idea what you're talking about because it was a long time ago. Like I'm behind in the list. I'm going to post. I'm hoping this cut and paste between machine works. It's going to work. Cool. If you got a dad joke, throw them in there. I'll read them at the end. Twitch wants to know if Twitch Zatuk. We're going to call you Zatuk. Do you agree with the new traffic camera laws? Now, what are the new traffic camera laws? That they're no longer legal for speeding? Is that did they? I don't think they took conditions. I thought they just ruled that they are no longer legal. I think that's asinine. I think that they're an effective tool. Now, I'm talking out of my rear because I have not read it. Please tell me anyone who's in there knows what the new deal is. I thought they were totally banned, but if they are permitted only in school zones, then that's better than what I thought it was. Okay. By the way, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a former police officer. It says so on the screen, and I am no longer a police officer. I retired over a year ago, and I am now doing what I do because I love you. That's it. I just want you to be safe on the road. So I started a not-for-profit organization called the Canadian Organization for Better Traffic Safety and Education, where I do stuff and things to make life better on the roads for everybody. I'm trying through education to change the world. If I get a speeding ticket from a speed camera, can I possibly dispute it because they are removing cameras? No, they're enforceable. Well, you can dispute anything you want, but will you win because they're removing them? No. As of, I think, the 14th of November, which is coming up real soon, they won't issue tickets afterwards. But prior to, all tickets will stand, so don't speed. They're going to pursue everything up until, and I support that. Hey, what's the best division in CPS? That's from Gavin. They're all good. They're all good. They're all different, and people move around and change up their careers. I worked as an auxiliary officer I started at traffic services way back in 2000. Then I went to 32 division, which I loved dearly. And then I went to 33 for a blink before I went PC. As a police officer, I went to 12 division, which was awesome. And then I went to traffic services. I think traffic is the best place to be. I'm biased. Thomas Chan just got pulled over going 190 and a 110, and he let me go. Thomas, I suggest you go buy some lottery tickets. You're a lucky dude. You don't deserve it because you shouldn't have been doing that speed. It's totally reckless, and I wouldn't have given you a break. That officer either, well, I'm not going to make assumptions, but other than probably didn't have a verification system, or maybe they didn't have radar in the car and just paced you and didn't want to pull your stuff based on something that wasn't going to win in court because they didn't get you with it. I'm guessing, or they weren't someone who is really on it, or maybe you were just really nice, and that's possible too. But I totally would have taken your wheels and you'd be screwed. I would never give a break for 190. That's ridiculous. I gave a break by a kilometer, one, maybe two. I made it 149 for someone who was doing stunt driving, and I regretted it. I should have taken their wheels. They came and tried to fight in court too. Like I was disgusted by them. Anyway, Thomas, buy a lottery ticket, because at this point you're the luckiest dude that I've met this week. It's winter tire season. Recheck your torque on your lug nuts 100 kilometers after install. That's a Goldwing cone guy giving you some advice. And I have been preparing an article that I'm going to be posting real soon, and I'm working at getting y'all discounts for tires and stuff. trying to talk to some friends of mine in the business so I can help you out with saving some cash. But yeah, tires. It's, when the tires get to 7 degrees, sorry, when the temperatures get to 7 degrees on Ave, you need to start looking at changing to winter tires. Now, people say I have all seasons. Well, all seasons are garbage. They're it's like a Swiss Army tool with three of the tools missing. It does 3 out of 4 seasons, and even then, would you use a multi-tool for surgery? Because that's kind of what you're doing with it all season. Now, all-weather tires are designed to cover the winter months as well. They're a different, they include a different compound which works, but it's still, you're taking a tire and dividing it into 4 portions. So you have different compounds for different weathers and different tread patterns for different types of conditions. You're not doing any one of them perfectly. Ideally, you should have a summer compound and a winter compound. Specialty tires. You're going to do a lot of off-road, get an off-road tire. Different thing. In any case, it's awesome. Dave Pollock says, super career. I don't know if you mean mine or just policing is the best job ever. And I 100% suggest that you should investigate that. Everyone's looking. Everyone is looking for people who want to serve their community. It's important. Let's see here. Antonio FX says, sign the back of it and send it in and don't show up. They'll throw it out. What? Are you talking? What? No. This is bad advice, Antonio. You're saying sign the back of your ticket and then don't show up for court and they'll throw it out? I think not. Owen wants to know if you can answer questions, if I can answer questions about regular police work. Sure. I mean, if I have an answer for you, I'll give it to you. If I don't, I'll tell you. What is this? Vars19 says, I'm so happy speed cameras were banned. Zoom, zoom. I am terrified as to what is going to happen because of the stupidity of the government that chose to get rid of them. There's not enough cops to go take up the slack. And we know that 50% of the people are slowed down by traffic cameras. So that means those people no longer have consequences. It's like taking the locks off doors. The locks keep the honest people out. It doesn't keep the hardcore criminals out. They just kept the lazy people who would otherwise walk into your house and take your stuff. But because they're considered honest, they stop when the door is locked. Now, those honest people are speeding because there's no consequences. Good stuff, Mr. Ford. Okay. I shake my head because I'm so disappointed in the world. Anyway. Rut Patel says, I've got, or is it Root? Anyway, they have a question about right of way. You should ask that question instead of just say, I have a question. You've already wasted so many characters. A Goldwing cone. We got to get you on the air. Are you ready to be on the air? We got to get you on the air. Okay. Twice the speed equals 4 times the stopping distance. I recently spoke at an event to young soon-to-be drivers. It was actually past Saturday. And I was talking about the fact that I have a great video. One of the first videos to hit 1 million views for me was a video from the Traffic Accident Commission out of Australia. And it explains, with fantastic visuals, how much farther you have to, that you need in order to stop, even if it's a 5-kilometer difference. Really makes a difference. Okay. Ahi Dawn says, what's the legal amount of THC while driving? What's the legal amount of THC? Someone who's a drug recognition expert can give you a specific. It's really hard to say because when you're dealing with a zero, you're not allowed to have any when you're a newer young driver, or if you're driving a vehicle. There's a very, very small percentage that's permitted for commercial drivers. I'm not a breath tech. I'm not a drug recognition guy. But the deal is that very, very small amounts. And they use a buccal swab to test that, and if it triggers, you're getting done. But that's because there's like a zero tolerance or something microns. But here's the deal: if you're impaired, you're done. THC I think levels can stay in your system all the time. They're not looking for a blood test; they're looking for impairment. It's different. What do we got here? Boom, boom, boom. Got to scroll back a bit. By the way, thanks to Greg for the 99 coins and Mr. Steak for the 1 coin. Those are TikTok coins that they've donated to the Canadian Organization for Better Traffic Safety and Education. It's not a lot. We get like 50 cents to $1 or something every time we do a live stream, and that's awesome because anything is better than nothing. So thank you so much for anyone who contributes if you decide to do that, or if you want to contribute, you can go by PayPal and go to askatrafficop.ca, make a contribution to the organization there. If you want to, maybe as a corporate sponsor, we take your money. We'll happily take your money so we can do more stuff and things with it. It's good stuff. We want to be able to hire people and have crews doing stuff. Like, yeah, we have goals. We have goals. We got Carl Freeman who says, "Good evening, Sean." Good evening, Carl. You went to 31 Division, someone asked? No. Oh, no, yeah, I went to 31. I did go to 31 Division as an auxiliary, but not as a police officer. I drove through 31 Division. Did I say 33 earlier? Maybe I did. If you're watching on TikTok, please tap the screen till your fingers go numb. It really helps bring more people to the party, and more people come to the party with different questions. You might get the answer to something you didn't even know you wanted to know. That's a really down the rabbit hole loop-de-loop I just did. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a former police officer who talks about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff, and I want to help you out. If you got questions about traffic safety, traffic law, or police stuff, ask, and I will do my best to answer. If we don't know the answer, we'll find someone who has the answer, and we'll get it to you. Okay. I see Mr. Steak had dropped a question. I'm just scrolling back. It takes a while to get through because there's a gazillion questions, and that's just the way it goes. Oh, I got a whole bunch of folks who MILF MILF Lord sent a gift. Thank you. We got JB92 also. Thank you for the gifts. I can't see them because I'm on a screen that doesn't show it, but I can see that it happened, even though I didn't get the benefit of wearing the hat or anything like that. I have to stare off to the side to do that. I just can't do it. Delgado, thank you for the follow. What do we got here? Christine. Oh, I think I've gone too far back. I did. Okay, scrolling forward. Here we go. Do you no, that's a dad joke I covered last time. Okay, I've gone way too far back. Here we go. Mr. H and Dylan and Evan and Big Dan and Christine and Dee and Leor and Ray. Thank you all for for sharing and for the follows. Bobby Emerson, Paul, thank you, Bobby. Ishmael says, "Can you take a left turn on a red with 2 one-ways? For example, Herb and Caroline and Waterloo." I'm not familiar with Herb and or Caroline, but I can tell you that in the province of Ontario, if you approach if you're on a one-way street, approach another one-way street, and the red light is displayed for you, and there's no sign prohibiting it, then as long as you come to a stop and then you make your turn in safety when it's safe to do so, then it's legal in Ontario. It could be different in different jurisdictions, but look out for the signs, because even though it's legal, the sign is there, it's no longer legal. It has to be done in safety. That's the big thing. Literally, the name is Dipshit. Dipshit 298 says, "What would you do if you see minors smoke?" Smoke what? Smoke cigarettes? I'll tell you, everyone smokes, and I'm no longer a good judge of age. And am I going to go start talking to people who may or may not be 18 or 16 or whatever the age is? Not my priority. Have I had conversations? If I saw a child, if I saw someone that was clearly too young, I would have a conversation. But it wasn't something that I was focused on. I was a traffic cop primarily. And yeah, I wouldn't do much. Can a cruiser sit behind a structure to hide behind and radar traffic? Yes. There's no obligation to wave a flag and say, "Hi, I'm here to catch speeders." No, no. The idea is it's like unmarked cars. They're awesome because people do dumb stuff because they don't see you. I like when people do dumb stuff because they can't see you, because then you catch them, you change their behavior. Where does this bug come from? I'm in the basement. There's no food here. Why? Vars19 says, "He's so arrogant." Am I? Apparently I'm arrogant. I think I'm just opinionated and right. Sorry. Okay, what do we got here? Opinion on Surons. That's for Surons. Opinion on Surons. They're illegal. They're motorcycles. They're not e-bikes. They're not legal here. They're for off-road use only. That is the joke, or the statement, or the thing. We got a dad joke. Goldwing says, "Fatigued drivers are as dangerous as impaired drivers. If you are sleepy, don't drive." It is a very good point. I think I have pulled behind people who were asleep, snoring behind the wheel at an intersection with their foot on the brake. yeah, just not cool. Okay. How to stop so many U-turns? I don't know what to tell you, but dangerous as all get out. Smoking in a car, clearly underage. What are you doing? What, where smoking? What with drugs or just cigarettes? Cigarettes is such a nobody. Does anyone still smoke cigarettes? It's so rare that I see someone smoking cigarettes. I smell marijuana. If I was a police officer and I smelled marijuana coming out of a motor vehicle, that would be an investigation for impaired operation, and the fact that you can't have it in the vehicle accessible to the driver. It would be a number of things, but I'm no longer in that role, so I would do nothing. Well, actually, that's not true. If I thought they were impaired, I'd call police because I'm a civilian. That's what I would do. Da, da, da. Factory glass on 26 GM trucks is 25% tint. Tested it on Monday. Get out of town, really? But it's factory glass, so it's different than putting a coating on it. Madagascar said increase, but I don't know what Madagascar said prior because for whatever reason it was filtered out. Zach wants to know if you could tell if there's an underage driver with a learners. How do you have an underage driver with a learners? You have to be 16 years old to be a learner. To get that, I don't know how you could be underage. Tell me more, please. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a former police officer who talks about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff. If you got questions, drop them in the comments. We're going to get through them. I'm going to be here for a while. My God, it's been 55 minutes. Okay, I've been here for a while. Let's see here. Bo Diddley. Why aren't there many police cruisers on the 400 series highways? So many racing. I see such abhorrent behavior on the highways. It's but I've been seeing a tremendous increase of enforcement on the 400 specifically, not series, but highway 400 going north to Barrie. I see tons of enforcement there, which I'm really, really happy about because the people drive it on that stretch like it's a racetrack. Potbelly says ticket for unsafe left turn. Por qué? What? I don't know what we're talking about. Like, okay. I don't know if you might be responding to something we were talking about 10 minutes ago. Intersection has right turn lane with a yield sign. Do you have to come to a full stop for a red light? A right turn lane with a yield sign. So it's a cutout? Then no, it's a yield sign. You may have to stop if you can't safely yield to the traffic that has the right of way, but it's not a stop sign, or it would have a stop sign. What is this? Oh, the answer to the dad joke. Okay, I got you. I will flag that. Stand by. Okay, back to this. Why do cops are so much about tints? Why do cops care so much about tints? That makes more sense the second time you put it. The deal is that it's unsafe. If you restrict the amount of light coming through a window, the person who's inside of that gets less information. Your eyes require light. That's how you see. So the first thing is, if you make your windows really dark, you as the driver see less, which means you are at higher risk of hitting someone outside of the motor vehicle. At nighttime, it's ridiculous. I know people who have to roll down their windows, or I've spoken to people who previously had tinted windows who said, I used to have to roll down my windows to see at night. That's not safe. It's stupid. There is no question in my mind that tinted windows look cool. I'm not arguing that. They're just stupid. If your eyes are sensitive to light, wear sunglasses. You can take those off at night. I've seen some pretty cool tech where you can roll down a second window or remove tints. If you're posing for shows and you want to put illegal tint on while you're parked, have at it. Drive on the road, you got to be seen and you got to be able to see. And that's a different story. That's an entirely different story. So windshield tint, unsafe. Pull your license plates. If your tint is so dark that you can't be identified, listen, there's something called nonverbal communication. So a pedestrian who's trying to cross it in front of you needs to be able to make eye contact with the driver. I have crossed the street in front of vehicles that are stopped, that are completely blacked out vehicles. I can't see the person. I have no idea if they see me. I walk and then I have them start rolling towards me. That happens way too often. One bug. That drive me crazy. I need to have that bug assault, that salt rifle. I need one. I've been meaning to buy one forever. Okay. Scrolling back. Why are Nick B95 says, "Why are Brampton and Mississauga drivers so bad?" I'm paraphrasing. They said something much worse. What is that? It wasn't that much worse, but anyway. How do not Roham wants to know how to convince the court to reduce their ticket. Why do they need to reduce it? What did you do? What is your what is your ticket for? If your ticket was for something serious, good luck. I mean, you can always say the truth. You got no job, you got 6 kids, you need, and I'm making stuff up. I'm not trying to allege that you have 6 kids or no jobs. But if you have a legitimate reason that you need assistance with making your life capable of being paid, like people are going through hard times. Money is tight for everybody. If you legitimately can't pay for food and the ticket, tell them you need time to pay. They can give you time to pay. They can say, you owe $500, but we're going to give you a year to pay it. Pay it every month. And if you don't pay it by the end, you're going to owe the whole thing. Or you're going to get, I don't know. It's up to them. They can do lots of things. They can reduce the fine. They can say, I'm going to make it $20, but you're still guilty and you're still going to have the conviction. They can do what they want, or they do what they want. All right. What do we got here? Oh, Potbelly says, I wouldn't go stunting. Okay. What kind of training did you do as a motorcycle cop at Rattlesnake Point? That's Cobra Chicken. Rattlesnake Point. I don't recall. I don't identify with what that, I don't recall where Rattlesnake Point is. I did my level 1 on the Ontario Police College. I did my level 2 in Peel. I did my level 3 in Toronto. I mean, we used to do, oh, maybe where is Rattlesnake Point? John, where did we do something in Rattlesnake Point? I don't know. We'll have to come back to this. Sadder. Why are we talked about that already? GTA Cops Cool is from Double Z. Baruch says, can you please talk about drivers crossing a solid white line on the highways? Thanks. What do you want to talk about? You don't cause a crash. You're going to get in trouble. Ruth says, can you answer about above right-of-way question? Let's see here. So Ruth says, I'm waiting on a live busy road and I want to take a left and there's a car waiting on the street trying to turn left on the same busy road. Trying to visualize this. So who should wait here, or is it first come first serve basis, or I get right of way as I live on a busy road waiting to make a left? Oh, well, the busy road gets the right of way and you must wait until it can be done safely. And if you're crossing over the row of traffic, you've got to really you got to be patient. I think what you're talking about is, oddly enough, this. Let me play a video for you.
Help me!
Oh, did you get the audio on that? I don't think you got the audio. Maybe, oh, you should have got the audio. Anyway, somebody sent that to me today. I'll let it play one more time. I'll turn off the audio before we do that now. So this person says they're from the UK and no one made them do a driver test, which is true. They just get it as long as they've got the qualified license. They just get it. And then they're confused. How do you have a main road with no stop signs and stuff? That's, I think, exactly what you're describing. The main road has first, and I would, if you had any question as to what is appropriate, you wait until the other guy goes first, and then you go when it's safe. I mean, in a 4-way stop, it's first to arrive, first to drive. Different in this situation. Hope that helps. It may not, though. And if not, ask away. Okay. Sinrink. Vehicle stops to back into a driveway. Traffic coming from behind is required to stop and wait. You can't hit them. What else are you going to do? They can stop and wait, and then they can back in. I mean, ideally, they should make very good decisions, because that's a good way to get hit. And I would probably not want to do that because it confuse the crap out of drivers. I would probably nose in, and but then they get screwed having to back onto a main street. So there's no good answer. But yes, you're not allowed to hit them. You're responsible for ensuring that you avoid them, whether it be passing them. I want to go. I'm looking over here. John, any comment, John? I want to get into these. My writing partner, we should have these conversations on air. I think it'd be interesting. Okay. Oh, Devils, he says they don't mess with you like us. Where are you, Double Z? Send me a DM. We gotta talk. Fog lines. Fog lines or fog lights? Fog lines? What are fog lines? Now I'm confused. I don't know what we're talking about. Ian wants to know if the conservatives the better choice? Are we talking federally, provincially? What are we talking about? Like at dinner? I don't know. Obviously, we're not a political channel. I don't talk about that stuff, but I am curious what your question is. Matilda, if I'm intoxicated, can I sit in the back of my broken down car without having access to my keys? Where are the keys? How do you not have access to them? If they're on you, if they're in the vehicle, if they're easily accessible by you, you have access to them. If you don't have the keys at all, how would you start the car? And if it's not possible for you to start the car, I think that's a more complicated question. But I think that the best place is not in a car at all. It's just it's not a good time. That's what Goldwing says. Back into the driveway, and then you can drive out. Well, that's what this guy's talking about. He wants to know what the obligation of the traffic that is approaching the vehicle that stops to back in. Backing in is always best, and police policy says we should always back in because we may have to leave in a hurry. And I back in every day to my driveway. That's just what I do. I've always, every 25 years, I back into every spot, except at Costco because I need to be able to open up the tailgate. That's the only place I go front in. But we're talking about the vehicle that's approaching that sees someone with their signal on stop to the side of the road. And somebody wants to know if they're allowed to plow into them or they have to just stop and wait. Yeah. Noel LaRue, not Noel. Or is it Noel? Noel or Noel? I've driven by cops doing 90 in a 60 zone. Why do they choose not to pull me over? I'm in Ontario. Well, thank you for clarifying where you are. It is up to them. They could have their head down. They may not be measuring your speed. They may not care about speed. They might be writing up memo book entries from the crime scene that they're holding, waiting for a body removal. Like they could be doing a million things. I don't know why they don't pull you over, but it doesn't mean that it's legal. You should not be doing 30 over. You are in the wrong. And one day you'll get a ticket for it and it's going to suck. Or you slow down, which is the right thing to do. Okay. So cheerful I am. Bender till December. I like your username. So I get, he says, so I keep getting tickets in Ontario for yellow fog lights. Now, why are they illegal? They're not illegal. Yellow fog lights are not illegal. I don't know why you would be getting tickets for yellow. You're allowed to project white or yellow to the front. If your primary headlights are yellow, that could be a problem. But yellow fog lights are not illegal. So I would fight those tickets. And I would say, go read the HTA because you're allowed to have yellow. You can't coat your headlights. You can't tint your headlights, but fog lights can be yellow. Yeah. Melody the mechanic can confirm that. Melody is in the audience. Melody's been on the show a number of times and is there and is a knower of stuff and things. Just saying. Diener says tint ticket is cheaper than a distracted driving ticket. SHP officer's advice. That's crappy advice. A police officer that tells you to keep using your cell phone and get tinted windows to avoid detection is a shitty officer. That's just really crappy advice. And I don't approve of that message. I think a police officer who gives that advice probably shouldn't be a police officer, but they probably aren't traffic. Maybe there's somebody who thinks that they're better cops, people who go after gangbangers and drug dealers. And that's a different type of cop. But the cops that do the job that I did, that John did, we care about people who are getting killed because of distracted drivers. We're worried about people who are being hurt and maimed on a daily basis because someone can't put the phone down. Yeah. But they're right. Technically, it's a cheaper ticket. But then when you hurt somebody, there's no undo button. I'm going to move on. I've already explained that I'm not impressed with that. Hey, so I'm 15 trying to get into law. I was going to say law school, but it's into law. There's no punctuation. So should I do a co-op for law or should I do it for another co-op? That is a really good question. Listen, if you live in the right neighborhood, you could qualify for a part-time job with the service as a Yippee student. That could be a great way to get info and feel out the police service as a member of sorts. But co-op students, like I would just focus on getting the best education you can. Co-op, I've done co-ops. I think they give you an idea of getting into things, but you're not going to learn. You're not going to be on a uniform running around and learning about policing. You're going to go file paper. It's going to be boring, I think. Um, I would just focus on getting learn a language, learn accounting, learn AI, learn something that you can put to work if you don't get policing. Learn something that you can put to work that makes policing better. But all the people who go to police foundations and come out with the same police foundation certificate that says I'm the same like everybody else, hire me. You're not making yourself stand out from the crowd. You should. You deserve to be, recognized for amazing because you are going to become amazing by taking something that nobody else is taking. You will stand out. Don't be like everybody else. Harley riders, look at me. I'm custom like everybody else. I like Harleys. I'm just making fun of them because I like them a lot. Okay. If you have a valid driver's license and it's on your person, if you have a valid license and it's not on your person while driving, what does the law say about that? It means you're a licensed driver who fails to surrender their license upon demand of a police officer. Because if you don't have it on you and you don't get stopped, nobody knows. But if you get pulled over, you're obligated to surrender it to a officer upon demand. And if you don't, you get a ticket for it. It's $110, which would suck. Smoked S13 says, is it illegal to pass a city bus when it's stopped in the bus lane? You mean to go around it to make a right turn? Do you want to know if you're stuck in that lane, like you can't move because they're there? If it's safe to do so and change the lane, then you can change the lane. If you mean go in front of them and make the right turn, it's unsafe. It could result in someone getting hurt because people do silly things getting out of buses, like run across the street. I would be very cautious, and I would just wait a couple of beats, and you should be saying goodbye to the bus and do what you got to do. Dimebag, interesting choice of usernames. Is it illegal to flash high beams to warn other drivers of cops ahead? It's a terrible thing to do. I mean, yes, it's illegal, not because you're notifying of police, but because you're improperly using your high beams. You can't high beam oncoming traffic. You may be thinking you're doing God's work, but you're really working for the other guy, because what you're doing is you're going to get someone who's speeding to slow down temporarily, and then they're going to speed up again. You're not going to change your behavior other than momentarily to get them past the ticket. And then you can feel good that you were the hero for 5 seconds. But then someone gets hit down the street because that driver avoided the ticket that could have changed behavior and saved a life. Don't do that. Don't get involved. Drive safely, drive legally, and don't flash anybody. Granted, I flashed someone. When did I flash them? Yesterday? Last night? It was the night before. And it's because they had their headlights off. They were driving a ghost car, no taillights. So I gave them a couple of flicks in from behind, which was technically illegal, but for a valid and safe purpose. And I think it would be excusable. And then they didn't understand what the hell was going on. So I pulled up beside them and yelled out the window, and they still didn't really understand. But eventually they got the message. They were driving with their headlights off. They took time to fumble and find. I want to play a video for you. Hang on a second. Videos.
Anything that resembles the schedule.
Okay, I want to play this when it actually loads. This was a bonehead driver today. Look at this jerk. I am forever impressed with the level of, let me put that back, the level of stupid that this person displayed. Look at that. They're in a rush. They're more important than everybody else. I would have charged that person. Oh, yes, I would have charged that person. Anyway, I just wanted to share. I'll make a video about that later. What do we got here? If I wave someone in front of me turning left and they get hit, is it my fault? If you were in a police car, you'd be responsible. If they take for granted your direction and make a lane change without being responsible for themselves, they're ultimately still at fault. It may be a contributing factor, they might say, if they ever found out it was you. This guy waved to me, and I'd probably ask them, if someone told you to jump off a bridge, would you? Like, it's the same thing. Now, I had once upon a time being directed whilst driving a 24-foot straight truck. The guy's waving me this way and telling me going this way, go that way. And I ended up clipping a garage door. It cost me $800. They didn't think that they were responsible. Neither did their employer. I paid for the damages. You're responsible for what you do with the vehicle. If you don't think it's safe, you don't do it, regardless of what someone's waving. And vice versa. Don't wave people. It's a bad deal. Just keep, like when I became an auxiliary officer back in 2000, when I first joined, they said never in a police car wave anybody through. You will be responsible because you're giving them direction. It's different. Oh, back hurts. All right, scrolling by. I got to try and wrap this up because it's going to be an hour and a half and 15 minutes because it's an hour and 15 minutes now. That's how math works. Bernhard, what's going on, brother? Bernhard is a member of a service that is literally close to me. He's giving advice. Usually it's dad jokes, and he gave me a dad joke earlier. Yes, he did. Okay. XBTXZZ says, I was turning left as it turned yellow, then red, and red light camera took photo. Fightable. If you were turning left as it turned yellow, you would not have gotten a red light ticket. The only way that a red light camera takes a red light camera ticket is if you entered the intersection after it turned red, even if it was a millisecond. I don't know how many milliseconds, but it has to be red before you enter. If it was yellow when you entered, you were lawfully entering it for the purposes of the camera. If a police officer saw you enter on the yellow, you might have gotten a ticket for disobeying a yellow light because you're obligated to stop unless it's unsafe to do so. But if a camera got you, it was red. And it will show you that on the ticket. Avery wants to know, what should I do to prepare for the G2 test? Read the book. Drive with practice. Take a lesson or two. Take a prep lesson. You can call a driving school and say, I'd like to be driven around. Big Species Specky claims to drive drunk daily, which I could say a lot of really losery comments about that statement because that's not a flex. What do we got here? Bender till December. Great username again. So I keep, I already answered it. I should have done. Jazz says, if I get a fix-it ticket for my tins, can I instead pay for it? What? So we don't do fix-it tickets in Toronto. I'm not familiar with what jurisdiction you're in that would do fix-it tickets. Fix-it tickets are essentially a warning saying, fix it. Or maybe it's a ticket that says, if you fix it, we'll remove it. Just fix it because you're not legal on the road. Now, if you were to get any kind of ticket from an officer in Toronto and you got another officer later, they'd issue you another ticket. And oddly enough, eventually you're going to get summons to court. It's a different kind of piece of paper. It says, thou shall not pay. You shall go to court and explain, which means taking a day off work and also having the fine potential going up to $1,000 instead of $110. Let's see here. We've got AC 3694 who says, hey, I don't know if you remember me from last, but I asked for advice about getting into law enforcement. I got to meet the chief of police in Toronto last Saturday. Oh, last Saturday night at the Able Gala. Awesome. I don't know if I remember you because I can't see your face. Send me a message. I mean, the reason you got a username like an icon, but I don't remember. Your username sounds familiar, but good for you. Chief's a great guy. I got to go see him. I got to talk to him about stuff and things. Do left lane campers get punished? Occasionally, but what's the left lane camper doing wrong? Oh, sorry, he had more to say. Says, after the gala, I drove back home and downtown was packed because of the Blue Jays game, and someone in an SUV cut me off, I assume, when there was no room on the then tries to cut another lane and almost backs up in. Ugh. I'm glad that didn't happen, even though it could have happened. It was close. Avoid that stuff. Just chill and let people in. Need a tow Toronto says, when you're towing a car, is it legal to drive with the tow lights on? What tow lights? Are you talking about your flashing yellows, or are you talking about the lights to illuminate the towed vehicle projecting white light back? If you're talking about projecting white light back, no, you're not allowed to do that. If you're talking about the amber flashers, there's no need to have it when you're in motion. The idea of those flashing lights is while you're stopped as an alert to vehicles that you're hooking up. You shouldn't be flashing your lights. You're just towing something. It's like saying, I'm towing a boat, put on some flashers. You don't need that. Is it illegal to have flashing yellow lights while you drive? Well, you shouldn't be projecting. You shouldn't be flashing forward. Like it's not necessary. Turn that stuff off. Yeah, blinding people. Let me know what you mean by towing lights, though. I'm curious. What's in a name says, as a TTC driver, we don't have to stop just like everyone else. Wait till it's safe. Yes, I think we're talking about roundabouts. They are very bright, so they should be kept off since I don't want to blind other drivers. That's Need to Tow Toronto saying what I just said, but probably 20 minutes ago. You answered your own thing. What do we got here? When you're towing a car, is it legal to drive? We talked. Now we're looping. I don't know why. What happens when you have unpaid fines and they go to debt collection? Does interest get added? That's a debt collection question. I don't have an answer for you. I don't know. What? I get a different answer depending on who I ask. They're very bright. Yeah, off. You don't need them on. Nana's a poopy head. I don't know what we want to say about Nana, but they're idiots. Sorry, they made a comment that's ridiculous. They also don't understand the words they use. Hey, Mike says, hey, I'm a constable in New Brunswick, Canada. Do you have youth traffic tickets in Ontario, or do they fall under regular M tickets? I've never heard of a youth ticket, so I'm going to say we don't have youth tickets. John, if you're still there, have you ever heard of a youth ticket? There's no youth tickets here. That's very interesting. Hey, write to me, Mike. I'd love to talk to you and about policing in New Brunswick. Maybe have you on the show. I'm always interested in having coppers from other jurisdictions join and chat. Reach out. You can get me at voiceovercop@gmail.com. Or you can go to askatrafficcop.ca, and there's a page there you can fill out. But yeah, there's nothing about youth tickets. I'm really curious now what that is. I'd like to learn more about it. What is this? What would happen if an underage person got pulled over driving a car alone? Underage, like they took the vehicle without consent and they don't have a learner's permit, nothing. They're under the age of 16. Because underage could mean a lot of things. So if someone takes the car, they can be charged for take vehicle without consent. If they took it with consent, then the person who let them drive can also be charged for things. It's not a good look. And they're not insured. Logan Cuffle says, hey, here in Nova Scotia, the law says you must hook or honk every time you pass a vehicle. Nobody does. Does Ontario have that? I've never heard of anything like that. That's pretty funny. I think it's pretty funny. It sounds funny. So Nova Scotia says you have to honk every time you pass a vehicle. Really? That's wild. I'm learning something. Thank you very much for sharing that tidbit. That's really cool. What do we got here? Becoming a police officer looks easy on paper. No, it is not. There's a lot of work with becoming a cop. It is easy. Doesn't come into the equation. I know a lot of people like to say, "Oh, dumb cop." No, it's a lot of work. Physically, mentally, academically, it's a lot. And there are people who get through and you question, like, how the hell do they even tie their shoes in the morning? And I don't have an answer. There are some people that you question how they got through, but they're there. They must have done it. Okay. What would happen? We talked about that. Are you in Canada or the United States? I am in Canada, Sea Dog. I visit the United States. I appreciate things on both sides of the border, but I was a police officer here, and I worked in Ontario. Yeah, I'm here in Canada. What would happen if? No, we talked about that. Keep reading stuff that looks interesting, but I already read it. Yeah. AC says, what happens if you drive with a G1 without a passenger with 4 years of driving experience? Well, then you get a ticket for. Put it on screen. Then you get put it on screen again. It's weird delayed reaction. It's so strange. The charge would be G1 drive unaccompanied. It would have a $110 fine. You'd get a 30-day suspension on conviction for your first offense. You get a 90-day suspension your second time. Third time, you get kicked out of the driver's program. Of course, the person who let you drive the car would be charged for permitting you to drive it. If you had no consent, then you would be charged for take vehicle without consent, and you get into some bad stuff. It's no bueno. So in New Brunswick, if a youth gets a traffic ticket, example for speeding, we have to give them a special youth ticket and serve them a separate notice personally to the parents saying we gave them a ticket. How old does youth qualify as? Under 18, like 16 to 18? So we have stuff that like at 16 you get a ticket. You're period. You're licensed, even if you're a learner's permit person. But if you were someone who is under the age of 16, you could do a notice to parent. So that's the thing. There is a notice to parent, but under 16 you wouldn't be operating a motor vehicle. And if you were, then that would be called to take them in, or take them to their parents. Because you're also not letting them drive away without a driver's license. But that's, yeah, I don't think I've ever issued one of those slips. Oh, okay. Oh, I did see your Linux. Linux? Did I get that right? Anyway, I did see your email. I didn't have a chance to respond to you, but apparently they put 1,500 plus LEDs or Christmas lights all over the car every season. And they wanted to talk about the legality of that. We'll talk about that, and maybe I'll have you on the show to where are you located? Maybe I'll come out and see you. I think your car sounds cool. I also think that you might get into trouble in some places, but we'll talk more about that later. What do we got this? Sea Dog says, I know you're a traffic cop, but what are the rules on fishing with a status card and how many fish? So I know nothing about fishing. And I was a traffic cop. I am no longer a traffic cop. I am a former police officer. Now, the rules on fishing, I believe, I have no idea about status cards. I know that if you have an accessible permit, that gives you the ability, it's the same as having a fishing license. That's a weird bonus of having a disability, I suppose. But I don't know anything about fishing limits. I'd be lying to you if I told you anything. I just haven't a clue. A dad joke from Greg. Ooh. Let's copy and paste this one. Hang on 1 second. It's working. I love it when it's such a cool situation that I have here with the two computers. It's finally working properly, and I like that. Okay. Oh, a great question from Team Round Earther. I have always wondered if it's legal or how it's legal for a sanitation worker to ride on the back of a moving truck. I don't think it is, but I think they have a dirty job and no one wants to take it over, so they let them do it. I honestly don't. I've looked for this. I've talked about it on the air with Jerry Agar on News Talk 1010. I cannot find an exemption for someone to hang off a vehicle because it's a garbage truck. Like I can't see it. I'm not aware of it. I cannot find it. Someone who can find it, please let me know. But I'd love to explore that, and I think that would be picking the scab that nobody wants to pick, because it means I'm going to go have to start collecting garbage if they all get toasted. And I don't want that job. I truly appreciate the sanitation workers, because it's a job I don't want. Linux says, I'm downtown Toronto every day, TMU, and live in Mississauga. Would love for you to come and see the car. That's cool. Yes, I will have to make that happen. I'm not downtown often anymore. Mississauga is even less attractive for me for travel. I drove downtown today. It took me like an hour and a half. I avoid that, but maybe we can meet in the middle. That'd be cool. AC says, whilst you were an officer, how was the paperwork? I hear it's a lot and very extensive. It wasn't hard. Listen, people get freaked out about paperwork. Once you figure it out, it becomes easy. Like, people get all worried about impaired driving charges because it's a lot of work. Oh my God, it's paperwork. Paperwork isn't so scary. It just means you need to learn something new. Okay, they have a question. I've only gotten pulled over last year to get a picture of it. Oh, got it. Coppers were cool with you. That's cool. I was a senior in high school who asked about policing. In your opinion, at U of G. Just okay. Now I'm putting it back together. So, University of Guelph study. Gotcha. I've done a lot of presentations, and although I can't. Which school? We'll talk. Send me an email. Okay. We talked about that. Brad is flexing, saying he drives drunk 3 times a week. So if you know Brad, someone should take care of you. They should absolutely give you an education. Because if you do, you're probably 13 years old living in your parents' basement, or maybe you're 25 years old living in your parents' basement. But to claim that you drive drunk 3 times a week is stupid. And if you actually do it, It's worse, but I won't use the word. What do we have here? When you are towing, we talked about that. What kind of license would a monowheel, single-wheeled vehicle, not a unicycle, require? What is a single-wheeled vehicle, not a unicycle then? Like an electric or an EUC is an electric unicycle. How is that different than a monowheel? They're illegal. They're prohibited in Ontario. You can't drive them anywhere except private property. Let's see here. Vars19 says it doesn't matter what you support. Not sure who he's talking to. Omar says, will I get a ticket if I'm eating a shawarma and driving 80 in a 40? The shawarma could be careless driving if it has hot sauce, but that's the best way to eat shawarma. Big fan of shawarma. Driving 80 in a 40 is stunt driving. So yeah, you're going to lose your license. You're going to get your vehicle impounded and you deserve everything. Well, it depends on where you buy the shawarma. Is it a good shawarma? Okay. Boom, boom, boom. Scrolling through. We're going to wrap up soon because the time is now 10:30. And I've been doing this for an hour and a half, and it's longer than I planned to do it today. And my back hurts. Just saying. What is this? Is it acceptable to sit in a left turning lane without your left signal on? Well, no. Why are you sitting in the lane? Do you mean you're planning on turning? If you're planning on turning, you need to have your signal on because you have to announce your intention to move. You're responsible to do that. Now, many people want to know if you have a left turn lane, shouldn't it be obvious that it's a left turn lane? Why must you then signal? Well, because it says so in the law. Okay. Melody's having none of it. Are they high beams? I don't know what. Oh, I see. Miss Lee is Leah. Okay, so really the tow guy wants to know if it's legal to drive without the flashing yellow lights. Yeah, it's encouraged that you drive without the yellow lights. While you're pulled over actively hooking up, it's to protect you and everybody else at the scene because you're a hazard at the side of the road. And then it invokes the whole slow down, move over thing. You're driving, you don't need those. I don't know why people leave them on. Sub Shitty says, for people who want to race, people race in the night who those still get in trouble, then the road is unused. Go to the track if you want to race. The roads are never a racetrack. Mini UWU, Mini Uwu, says, watching from Bohemian Grove. And I don't know where Bohemian Grove is, but I want to know. Thanks for watching. And Miss Leah says, you can't assume the road isn't being used. You never know. It doesn't matter whether it's being used or not. You're not allowed to race on it. We talked about this. Why do you guys camp car meets to pull plates? Because if you're getting your plates pulled, it's because your vehicle is not roadworthy, it's unsafe, and you can't be on it, thus you don't deserve plates. And then by pulling the plates, you have to go get a safety again to reapply for plates. It's basically because you're conducting or you're engaged in illegal activity. And it's a great way when you announce that you're going to be doing this illegal stuff in one place, that we can just go to one place and catch you all instead of having to try and find you individually. It's actually really smart policing. Why would you have a car meet and say, hi, me and my friends who are all engaged in having unsafe and illegal vehicles, we're going to hang out at this time. We're going to put posters and social media posts up. We're going to go there. And please, police, don't show up and ruin our good time because we're just being illegal together. You like, that's what I'm hearing when you ask the question. It's pretty funny. Why do you guys come where all the illegal stuff is and like enforce the law? Like, why? Sorry. Bill says, I live up north soon. Studded tires on. Lots of time in Toronto and illegal issues. If you live in Northern Ontario, if you live in the areas that are classified as Northern Ontario, let me pull up my list. If you live in Algoma, Cochrane, Kenora, Manitoulin, Nipissing, Parry Sound, Rainy River, Sudbury, Thunder Bay, and Temiskaming. Temiskaming? Yeah, those are all places where you can legally have them. And if you're registered there, you can drive anywhere with them. Now, if you're from out of province, you can drive into the province during the. So you can't have them all the time, and you can't be registered in Southern Ontario, and you don't want it in Southern Ontario. Truthfully, it takes you longer to stop with studded tires because they're meant for hard packed snow and ice. It's not good for concrete and asphalt. It'll actually take you longer to stop. How and why you did not? What? Bobby Emerson says, how and why you did not be a road cop. I was a road cop until I got hit by a car. And I was a road cop before I became a road traffic cop, before I became a motor squad officer. Like I've done the job. I don't know you mean. Can I argue with the MTO to get a license suspension removed? You can try. I don't know what the process would be. I don't know how successful you'd be. Santa Claus, he is streaming on YouTube as well. Oh, good to know. Santa's a buddy. Are you streaming on different platforms besides TikTok? Oh, Santa, I see you, Santa. Yes, I am on X, LinkedIn. I'm on Instagram. I'm on YouTube. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Kick. I'm on Twitch. I'm on Rumble. Rumble's a new one. We just started Rumble. And we take questions from all of them. And Santa, I'm glad to see you're back in business. Hope the elves are treating you well, doing what they're supposed to be doing, keeping up the quotas. I imagine there's toy quotas. Just saying. We're already full on to Christmas movie mode in my house, by the way. Okay. Going to court for 20 over. Is there any way to negotiate the ticket for a non-moving? Is there any way to negotiate the ticket for a non-moving violation? You might be able to negotiate it down to a lower speed with no demerit points, which would be anything under 16 kilometers an hour. Maybe they would allow you to have a non-moving violation. I don't know, but Tony, that's up to the prosecutor. They may. You can go to a first appearance and talk to them, and if you don't like their answer, you can still go to court. STO9 wants to know if I'm reading questions off TikTok. Yes, but I'm behind. I'm always behind because we're on a lot of different places. If I'm going 110 and 100, will I get pulled over? Probably not. And Tracy said probably not, which is absolutely probably accurate. It's not that you should be speeding. It's just that it's unlikely that you'll be pulled over for that speed when people are doing 30 and 40 over. How far does a tow operator have to be away from the accident? Things changed. I actually was part of creating the training program for it, and I cannot for the life of me tell you the answer. I don't know. I don't remember. Could we look it up? We could. Do I want to? No, because it's a different act now. It's a pain in the butt. Email me. Email me at voiceovercop@gmail.com. I'll look it up. I'll send it to you. Okay, what do we got here? Can an ambulance stop you and hold you till a cop gets there for a traffic stop to ticket you? No, they don't have the authority. I mean, if they think that the person, could they perform a citizen's arrest for they don't pull people over. They don't have the authority to stop vehicles. They used to pull over for them, but they don't have authority to detain you. If it's an indictable offense, could they perform a citizen's arrest? Possibly, maybe, yeah. But what a horrible shit show that would be. My God. Yeah, Cam, tell me more. Has this happened? Like, I'd love to know, but that's wild. This user wants to know if they can legally have 2 to 3 Percocets on them. If a Percocet is issued to you and you're not consuming them and just transporting them, and you have a prescription for them and they're not in, can you have them on you while you're driving? Is that what you're? Yeah. How much does a first-year police officer make after you graduated or when you're hired? I think they have about $75,000 in the first year once they've graduated. About top pays about $130,000 a year, I think. Can an officer choose not to charge you for driving while under suspension? An officer can choose to do whatever they want. They don't have to write a ticket. They can't let you. I mean, it would be incredibly unintelligent and a poor choice to let you drive away under suspension, but they don't have to necessarily lay the charge. They could get you towed and say, well, also depends if you know you're under suspension. For instance, if you were, well, no, even then, if you weren't served, you would then get served. You probably wouldn't get charged. So if you were within a certain period of time where it wasn't deemed, then you'd probably not get charged. You probably just get notified. So yeah, not only could you, but you likely would not get charged if it was like a court something happened in court and you were never served. If you knew about it, I can't imagine someone not charging you. Sahi says, damn, I don't know. I don't know. I wish I knew. Oh, can I argue with the MTO to get a license suspension removed? Oh, you can definitely argue, but will you win? I don't know. Sean's so excited to see Santa. I love it. Well, he's the best. He's the dude. He's the man. It's from one bearded guy to another. It's a serious thing. Christmas is my favorite time of year. Truly, it's really, really, it's the best. Maybe Santa. Maybe you need to jump on the show one night. We'll have we'll collab. Is it illegal to drive a vehicle that doesn't have daytime running lights? No, it's illegal. You can't certify a vehicle that was manufactured with them that doesn't have them functioning because it won't pass safety. But you can buy a car that was manufactured before they were required, and they don't have to have them. And if they burn out while you're driving and you don't fix them, are you unsafe at that point? We wouldn't charge you for it. We probably wouldn't even know that it was a vehicle that needs them. Prab wants to know what my opinion on speed cameras is. I think they're the most effective way to cover all roads at all times for speed management. Next Wednesday, I think we're going to have my buddy join the show. He just got back from Korea. He's going to talk about driving in Korea. And oddly enough, there's a lot of cameras. In fact, all around Germany, Europe, traffic cameras are everywhere. They know what they're doing too. Well, not too. They know what they're doing. Ontario just went back in time to a less safe time. Makes no sense. So Cam said it happened. I told him I don't think it can do it. Yeah, and then Cam said I don't think that and then they said it's a citizen's arrest, and I asked the cop, and he doesn't know. No. A citizen's arrest is very specific. It's an indictable offense, fines committing. What are they pulling them over and holding them for? Impaired? Impaired is indictable, or at least it could be a dual. Is it straight indictable or is it a dual? Either way, they could arrest someone for impaired. Yeah. I'm surprised someone stopped for them, but like as I say that, I'm like, I really want to make sure I confirm the status here. I don't want to give you bad advice, but either way, I don't know why I'm having this gap. See, I didn't have to really know indictable versus that because as a police officer, I could charge for both. I mean, I had to know, but I did know, and now I'm questioning myself. I think it is indictable. It has to be indictable. Yes, it's indictable. Okay, I was having a moment. I was having a mental moment. So yeah, they could citizens arrest. But wow. Oh God. Oh, so Cam says it was because my dumb friend decided to hang out of my sunroof. So they were, but that's not indictable. That's just a no seatbelt charge. The driver being impaired would be indictable. Okay. Let's see here. Hey man, how you doing? Great job. Just wanted to let you know. Thanks. Lots of numbers user. I appreciate it. And Santa Claus says, yes, definitely Santa would love to. When are the many reasons Doug Ford's on the taking away the traffic cameras is one of the many reasons Doug Ford is on the naughty list. That's Santa Claus who made the statement, and I think that's the best thing ever said on this channel. Just gonna take a screen. That's great. Send it to Doug Ford. Okay. Can an officer just say my car smells like weed just to search, or do you need reasonable suspicion? So, burnt marijuana, unburnt marijuana, plain view, there's a whole bunch to it. The authority to search. Here's the big thing. They may do something that is lawful and not lawful. Make the challenge them there. What you do is you get a lawyer afterwards, and then if they were completely, full of crap, then sue the service. Put a complaint in. That's what you get to do. You don't argue with the cop at the side of the road. You can say I don't consent, and they can still do it. It's all on camera, right? What's the limit on welding gas bottles on my truck before I need placards? I don't know. I have somebody that I can call to find out, but I don't know. What L Engineering says, so what's the best way to deal with extreme tailgating? Apparently, Me coasting was not the way. That's what I do. I just take my foot off the gas. That's the way. That's what I do. If someone's right at my butt on the highway, I slow down. Motivates them to screw off. If they don't like it, then that's their problem. It's a you problem. Okay. Oh, Santa's inviting me to the North Pole in Mississauga. Awesome. I'd love to come out. That's a heck of a drive. Maybe you can pick me up in the sleigh. They ticketed you for stunt driving, so could have fought at that. So, Cam, technically, if your friend is driving out the wind, it's a seatbelt charge, but you could also do a dangerous driving charge under criminal. Stunt driving, it's not stunt driving. I think you could have fought stunt driving. I don't think it qualifies. Dangerous driving under criminal code, I think it does qualify. How was my time as a TPS cadet? It was great. It was a short time. It's just from the time that you get hired until you or become a cadet in training until you graduate. But I had a great time. What do we got here? Into a single lane, who has the right of way? If I'm at a green light trying to make a left and someone else is at a green light trying to make a right, green light left, someone else is green. The green light right has the right of way. You're crossing a lane of traffic. You have to make sure it's safe to go. If it's both green, the person crossing over the live lane of traffic has more responsibility. If you pull over a vehicle that smells of weed, could you check for impairment? Of course you could. You could pull over a car that doesn't smell like weed and check for impairment. For sure. We stand for these says, what's the reason why our police are way more educated and less aggressive than the U.S.? I don't know if that's true. I met a sheriff in Florida, and this is going back 20 years. I met a sheriff at a police supply who had a double doctorate. Double doctorate. That man was far more educated than I. On what basis is an offense under Section 320 failure to comply with demand equal to DUI? This is from TikTokster. So you're saying on what? So you want to know why failing to submit to or comply with a lawful demand for either a breath sample or a roadside sobriety test is equal to a DUI? No, the consequences. It's not the same as DUI. They're no longer trying to prove DUI. They're trying to prove refuse. It's a different charge. Is that what you're talking about? Can I get pulled over for loud music subs if there's no noise ordinance? Yes. Unnecessary noise in a motor vehicle. Absolutely. Metallic windshield tint. Windshield shield. You can't tint windshields at all. Can't have any window tint. Metallic reflective for the windows left and right of the driver, not legal. It can't prohibit it. You can't impair someone's ability or obscure the interior of your motor vehicle. You have to be able to see in. Let's see here. My car identifies as a bicycle. Do I still need a license plate or just a belt? Taylor, yeah, your car is still a car. Do you need to pay private parking invoices, tickets? Do they go to a legitimate collection agency? They can. It's their property. You're trespassing on it, and they're choosing to enforce it their only way. Now, can they send you a bill? Sure. Can they enforce it? And they can take you to court and say, pay me. That doesn't mean anything. Like, it all depends. Now, if you go to York University, I keep using York as the example. If you go to York University and they say you're a student there and you don't pay, then they could prevent you from graduating. That sucks. That's not fun. Okay. That's awesome, Woodell Engineering. Did I hear about the UPS plane today? What happened with the I did not hear about the UPS plane. And Tracy did hear about it, apparently. DJ Mills says, hi. Hi. What do we got here? Then he came to a complete stop to turn, waited a minute, then chucked a can over his car into the ditch. And chucked the can over his car. Oh, just missed you. Okay. That becomes like that person's a real bonehead. What do we got here? Is there an MTO channel? I don't believe that they have one. DJ Mill says, will I get a ticket if I forgot to engage emergency braking car ran over? That's a horrible video. Never mind emergency brake. That was forgetting to put the car in park. And it's a shitty situation. But it's a high stress situation. Person with a knife, I feel for that officer. Mistakes happen. What's worse is when the mistake happened, and then you're in such high stress that is now amplified because the car was rolling. It was a bad situation made worse, and then made worse again. I feel bad for that individual. But did they try and do something? Were they intentional? No, that was not intentional. I don't know who it is, and I can tell you it's not intentional because no one would do that to themselves. Ever. What do we got here? JC says, yo, Sean, big bro, I've ran so many times in my BMW from OPP successfully. How do you feel about that? I think you're full of it, or you're just making bad decisions. And unfortunately, someone is going to, it's going to catch up to you, unfortunately. And I hope it doesn't. Like, I hope you learn from your ways and you stop doing dumb stuff that puts people at risk, yourself included. It's not a good move. What is this? Oh, but he says, I wouldn't run from you. I'd pull over for you. I'm so glad. Zoe the Min Pin sent roses. Thank you so much. Santa Claus, do you know anything about the enclosed mobility scooters I've seen around? They're not legal. If it can't be used inside of a, what do you call it? What is this? He says full of it, 5-0. Right on. Do you know anything about the enclosed? Okay, so enclosed mobility scooters. Yeah, I mean, I've been quoted in articles all over the place. If you can't go shopping inside of a Walmart, it's not a mobility scooter. It's a small car. They're just not legal. I see them all over the place. You don't drive a mobility scooter to the mall, then park it and walk inside. A mobility scooter is a small thing that goes through normal doors and is meant for people who have mobility issues, not people who don't qualify for a driver's license. JC, thanks, Ben. Methinks I know who it might be, but if it's who I think you are, what's going on? Tracy says the engine fell off the plane before. Really? Oh, geez. Oh, my God. That sounds terrible. Brady says I was driving with an expired license. I didn't know because of Canada Post strike. Am I still liable? If you haven't been charged and nothing happened, then just go renew it and fix it, and no harm, no foul, because no one's coming looking for you. But if you got pulled over, you would be unlicensed, and it would be a $350 ticket, and then it's a bad thing. Santa Claus says, then how can they be sold as mobility devices? Would that be false advertising? They could call it, they could say, well, I'm not selling it as a mobility device. The name of the vehicle is called mobility device. It's deceptive marketing. It's all sorts of things. And I think that they need to change the laws to make it very seriously regulated. It should be under OMVIC, just like a motor vehicle. And the truth is, they're just importing things from China and slapping a sticker on it and putting a web page and selling it to the unsuspecting audience that wants an effective and cheap way to get around. And I understand the need. I understand that it's cheaper, it's accessible, it's illegal. So it's a problem. Ethan says, Sean, how are you? I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. User Lots of Numbers says, Sean, I chose early resolution for my speeding ticket. How long on average does it take to get a meeting? Oh, I don't know. I mean, it takes like a year or more to get a trial now. So hopefully you get it within 6 months. You have that meeting. They say, we're going to give you a deal or not. If you like the deal, take the deal. If you don't like the deal, go to court, and they'll put it to a date in the future. Cam says, if I get pulled over without a physical license but have a picture of it, does that count? The officer might accept it, but it doesn't count. It does not meet the requirements under law. Walter Chain Gang says, are you in favor of no minimum sentence for pedophiles? Hell no. Hell no. This is ridiculous stuff that's going on. Why is my computer not? Okay. It's ridiculous what this government is doing to this country, and it's very sad. We have enough problems with the judicial system, and they're just making a mockery of the whole thing. Yeah, I don't want to go down this road, but no, I'm not in favor of that shit. Santa Claus says, sorry, they finally said the 4-person one is illegal. They finally said that it's illegal. Oh my goodness. Did see finally, they said, okay. they're just trying to make money on the unsuspecting people with cash in their pocket that want solutions to their problems, and it's sad. I hope there's a class action suit, and all these people all these companies who sell them get nailed to the wall. Cam says, my mom tells me it would work, but you have 24 hours to show a physical copy to the courthouse. No, you don't. You might be able to go to court. Like, see, here's the thing. It's not the courthouse. If you get pulled over by a police officer and the police officer makes the demand and says, where's your license? You go, I have a photo of it. And it's like, that's great. I got Photoshop. I can make anything. And even if they do the investigation and verify to their satisfaction that you are in fact licensed, you still get a ticket for failing to surrender the physical card as required by law. There's no 24 hours. Your police service may tell you, they may have a thing that your local police service might say, hey, I'll give you a break. That's the officer giving a break or a policy of that unit or small service. But Toronto, we're issuing the ticket. It's going to court, and that's it. You could get a warning. Depends on the officer. Nobody has to lay the charge. That doesn't have to get a ticket. You're eligible for the ticket. What? A 1.5 years for your ticket? You haven't had a meeting? I'd follow up, man. Something happened. I would assume that there's a problem. You should have received a ticket. I can't. Okay, I said I was going to go 25 minutes ago. I am wrapping up. I do like doing this, and we'll be back on Tuesday next week. I'll be on with Jerry Yeager, 10 a.m. We'll do a half an hour of just us, and then the last 20 minutes or so, we'll probably have Jerry on the air. We will have Jerry on the air talking about stuff and things, and his radio audience will be able to call into the radio show and talk to us. By the way, you can actually arrange to be on the show, whether you're a cop or you're not. We can have you on. You want to talk about stuff? You've got something that's really burning, a really important question. We can have you on the show. We can have you on camera. We can discuss stuff and things. I think it'd make it interesting. Canada 2 Gold, haven't seen your username in a while, my friend. How are you doing? The question is, emergency vehicle light siren, pull up to a red light behind cars. What should the first car do? Move or wait? I had someone write to me today offline asking me a similar question. They're a paramedic, and somebody was talking about a copper who pulled up behind them and then like lit them up and gave them a hard time, and they felt pressured to go. You have no authority to enter that intersection, and no police, fire, or ambulance personnel should be trying to get you to do something that's unsafe and illegal. You'd be responsible, even if they said, even if you caught it on camera, you would have some role to play. And you could say, I was pressured by the police thing. You'd still get charged. You'd still be at fault from the insurance company. It would be a bad day at the office for you. Cam says, I got to peace out for the night. Have a great night, guys. I got to go too. I got to be up at 6 in the morning. I get up at 6 in the morning every morning because I got responsibilities, y'all. Okay, we got what is this? So what's the charge on the ticket if I pulled over? If I got pulled over for not having two hands on the, there's no charge for not having two hands on the wheel. Like they can say careless driving, but you don't have to have two hands on the wheel. That's baloney. Pavnajot says, where are you from? Like originally, like my DNA? No, I'm from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. I used to be a police officer here, and I am no longer a police officer here, but I am someone who tries to help you with your questions about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff. My name is Sean Shapiro, the voiceover cop, and this has been Ask a Traffic Cop. But I'm winding down. We're going to do some dad jokes. I'm just looking. Melody's going for training in London. Santa Claus says, hope you have a great night, Sean. Enjoy the rest of your week. Thank you, Santa. We'll talk soon. Send me an email. We'll chat. What do we got here? We got. We stand for these, says Sean. We love you. Thanks for sharing your knowledge and expertise. My pleasure. Thank you for the thank you. Mummers says thank you. Tyler Addict, haven't seen your username in a while, unless I'm confusing with somebody else. They say, absolutely love your show. Been driving for 46 years and I still learn. Awesome. Thank you very much. And Tracy, thanks for your help. Melody, thank you for hanging out. And I know you're always active in the chat. Thank you for all that you do. What do we got here? What if everyone in the 407 is going 145 and I got 145 2 and cop stops me? Is it the flow? This flow of driving thing is not an excuse for following the other people who are breaking the law. It means that the intention, and it's not a legal definition or legal excuse. I was going the flow of traffic. No, that's intended for merging. It's to get onto the flow of traffic so you can merge safely, but you're not allowed to exceed the posted limit. Even when you're passing, even when you are trying to merge, You might do it momentarily and hope that you don't get caught because you have to get on, but then you should stay to the right and slow down. You should not be speeding ever at all. And if you get pulled over, whether you're one of 20, one of one, you are responsible for the speed of your vehicle, period. Vintage fridges. Okay. Don't know what that's going. Mark says, my glucose alarm is going off on my phone. Can I check my sugar levels? I think that you might be able to articulate that in court and have a record of it on your phone. If you got pulled over while that was happening, while still illegal, you might be able to talk your way out of that. What do we got here? Can police spy on my phone? Like look at it with a long lens? What do you mean? Do we hack your phone and look at it? I don't know anything about that. I'm a traffic cop, or was one. Question: ticket avoid traffic lane is the. I don't know what your question is. What do we got? Have you gotten? Thank you for the reminder, Tracy. My bad. I have not. I have your address. I will, now that the mail is traveling again, I will throw some stuff in the mail for you. I apologize. I owe Tracy some stuff and things. Chris says, what's the law for blackened out taillights and headlights? Headlights is very clear. You can't put anything on the headlights. You can't tint them or modify them. That would be illegal. It's a specific charge for it. But having taillights that are tinted is different because you have to have your taillights have to be discernible at 150 meters, if I'm not mistaken. And if you tint them, they are less discernible. And that would become more of a question for interpretation, but you're going to get charged and you're going to have to fix it because it ain't okay to have. Let's just see what the dad jokes are. Dad joke from, who is it from? This is from Bernhard. I used to have a fear of speed bumps, but I'm slowly getting over it. I actually like that. It's a good one. I have a speed bump. Bumps. Dad joke from John, who says, what weighs many tons but falls without making a sound? What weighs many tons but falls without making? This is like a riddle as opposed to a dad joke. The answer is snow. Dad joke. What kind of doctor is Dr. Pepper? I like Dr. Pepper. And I have a case of Diet Dr. Pepper that I've put somewhere and I don't know where I put it and I want to drink it now that you've made this joke. So dad joke, what kind of doctor is Dr. Pepper? Well, clearly, they're a physician. I think those are pretty solid jokes. Riddle joke, 2 jokes in a riddle. Either way, thank you for hanging out. It's been a solid hour and I've, 2 hours. What am I saying? It's 2 hours, 2 minutes. It's been way more than I planned on being, but I'm glad I was here spending time with you. I hope that you got something out of it. If yes, then please make sure you're subscribing. Tell people about how awesome this is and that they can get, especially if they don't, if they're not good drivers, tell them they really should be tuning in. But I'm hoping that y'all get something out of it. Thank you so much for spending time. We'll see you on Tuesday, 10 a.m. when Jerry Agar jumps on the show and we'll talk about stuff and things. And then we'll be back again next Wednesday at 9 p.m. to do this After Dark business again. Drive safe, drive sober, and smile. It looks good on you. Take care.